Black Clover TV Anime will be revealing exciting information next week in Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 32. No further details have been mentioned. I have never been more excited to see one of my videos age like moldy milk. There is still some things that are relatively important in that video, but I'm glad to see that Black Clover hasn't been completely forgotten about. That it is still relevant, and the fact that Weekly Shonen Jump is doing this announcement is a pretty big deal, especially when you have this associated with it, where it says Black Clover TV Anime. Now, obviously, this announcement is extremely vague. There is a lot of different directions and many paths that this announcement can go down, and I will talk about them, and I will say it is best to temper your expectations, but it is looking very bright. Like, there is hope. There is actual hope for Black Clover. That Black Clover has not become the black sheep for Weekly Shonen Jump. That it's not going to continue to be a mismanaged product for Weekly Shonen Jump. It will be something that can rise back to its former self and even better, and actually showcase that it's a really good series. And it's made me sad for the last year plus 2 years now that Black Clover has just slowly faded. It is faded out of conversation. It was rivaling My Hero Academia for a while, and to see basically just next to nothing in terms of advertisement and marketing for it has been just extremely depressing. And like I said, those points I made in my video, still very relevant. But to see this announcement means that there is hope, and Black Clover is about to be back once again. So let's get into this. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this in between? You know, let's explain. So, obviously, I don't really think this is bad news. Like, any news is better than no news. Because, like I said, Black Clover, next to no conversation about. There are so many people in my comment section for the video I made last week for Black Clover that legit didn't even know that the series was ongoing. There was people on social media that thought it was done. It was over. There was people that were like, wait, Black Clover is still coming out as a manga? That's crazy. Like, that's actually insane, especially when you factor in Black Clover was literally a series that was side by side My Hero Academia for a very long time, for years. And to have people just think that's already over, that's not okay. Like, that's really not okay. So, anyways, any news is better than no news. I don't want to go back to those dark times of Black Clover basically having next to nothing about it. So, with this news, it has brought back a lot of conversation to Black Clover. A lot of people now are getting hyped, they're having hope, they're like, oh man, are we gonna get a new anime season? There's so many things that are coming up right now in terms of conversation. So first off, we need to talk about if this announcement is legitimately a continuation of the anime. So let's go on a limb here and say, yes, they're about to announce that Black Clover is about to get a new anime, and it's going to adapt the content that hasn't been adapted before. What does this mean? Well, the current state of the anime industry is a lot more different than when Black Clover was still ongoing. Long-running anime don't really work anymore. They don't. They really don't. It was one of the last of its kind. One Piece is one of the last long-running shonen series, and the current state of the anime industry just cannot really support long-running series. It can be done, but it's very unlikely. And so, Black Clover, if it does return as an anime, it's not going to be a long-running. There's, by no means, no way it will ever become a long-running again. I would be very shocked. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'd be very shocked if it ever became a long-running anime. Now, what this means is that they would probably release it as a split core. We would have like maybe 12 or 13 episodes released, they'll go on break, and then they'll release another 12 or 13 episodes. That's typically how anime is done nowadays. And so I could see Black Clover getting that type of treatment. For instance, it would have better animation art quality, and it would give the time for the production to kind of be done in a proper fashion, instead of having lukewarm episodes that just look like absolute garbo. So I think in general, if Black Clover does come back and it goes to a seasonal split core format, that is definitely for the best for the series. Obviously, fans would be upset not to have a long-running series again, but like I said, it's better to have something to not have it at all. And especially if to have it, it's going to be better quality than to basically have it like rushed out or in a long running and it just becomes a sludge, so to speak. So I think that in general, if it does get an anime, that's what I would like to see. Now, there is another possibility that this announcement could be. Another positive that it could be is it's a movie. See, in this day and age, we have all seen it. a lot of shonen series now get a movie adaptation to continue their series in some way. With how long it's been since Black Clover obviously had an anime follow-up, and with how much content is technically left to adapt, a movie would be good. Especially when you factor in that the manga is not over and chapters have been sporadically coming out for a while now, that a movie would pretty much work. It would actually work pretty well for Black Clover. So I think in general, if Black Clover went down the movie route, obviously that wouldn't be maybe everybody would be happy with, but it also would be pretty nice to see Black Clover in a movie setting with a follow-up of a continuation like that because of how content theoretically could be adapted, and it would give enough pacing to do the movie, but also for the manga to come to an actual conclusion. So that is a direction the series could go. It could go down a movie format. Now, the other option, which this one might confuse people, might think this is bad news, which it kind of is, but not really. It could be a rebroadcasting announcement. Now, when I say rebroadcasting, what the announcement could be is, like, when next week arrives, Shonen Jump might announce, like, Black Clover is going to be rebroadcasting once again with its earlier anime episodes for its last arc it did for its anime, and that's it. That's all they're going to announce. And fans, obviously, if they see that announcement, they're going to react pretty negatively. Because, obviously, it would be like, wait a minute, so you're rebroadcasting episodes we've already seen? That's what people will say. However, I've done this song and dance a lot. I have seen how anime is announced often, and I think that if they do a rebroadcasting, if they announce, for instance, a rebroadcasting, then most likely what they're doing is they're giving a time gap before they announce the actual continuation of Black Clover. For instance, let's say they announce the final arc of the anime of Black Clover to be rebroadcasted, okay? When the final episode of that arc comes out for the Black Clover original anime run, they will announce an anime continuation, either through movie or a new TV series. That's probably what will happen. Now, another possibility is that this announcement is nothing. It could be an art museum. It could be a pachinko machine. It could be basically a gacha game announcement. And this does line up with the current stuff that's going on in the Black Clover community. If you were unaware, the Black Clover mobile game is shutting down. It got announced like a week ago, basically, that it was getting shut down. And this timing with this announcement, it could mean that they're shutting down the Black Clover game to make another Black Clover mobile game. Now, obviously, this isn't an ideal announcement. That's not, that would not be good. That would be terrible. Absolutely terrible news if that is what they're doing. But what gives me hope, and so many others hope right now, is the fact that Black Clover TV Anime is associated with this announcement. If I didn't see the TV anime thing a part of this, I would assume that it probably is some form of mobile game art museum announcement. Now, it still could be that, but there is definitely more side leaning to an anime continuation than nothing else. But like I said, temper your expectations, because it could turn out to be nothing. Now, with all of that, I gotta say, Black Clover has definitely been having a rough time as of late for these last few years. I already discussed this in my video I made earlier about a week ago, but the point still stands. I feel like as a property, as a product, Black Clover has just been so mistreated for so long now, it's odd. It's a very odd thing, because it is a successful property. It's not like it's, like, unsuccessful. It definitely had a lot of marketing sales, volume sales. Anime was pretty accepted as I know of, at least to my knowledge, and so when I factor all this in, it's very strange for all these years, just basically next to nothing about it. So, I do hope with this announcement, it brings more conversation to the series, it causes the anime to return, it causes, Tabata to come back and continue writing more consistently. I would just like to see overall Black Clover get what it deserves, and actually get a proper conclusion as well. That's what I would personally like to see. So yeah, wanted to talk about this. Now, when this announcement comes out next week, when we officially get the reveal on whatever this information is, I will make a follow-up video and discuss it. If it turns out to be a nothing burger, I will also talk about that. If it turns out to be a pachinko machine, I'll talk about that. If it turns out to be an anime continuation or movie, whatever, I'll talk about that. I will let you all know when more information comes out. I'll keep you all up to date. But for now, we'll leave it at that, because we just don't really know what it's going to be yet. Temper your expectations, but let's hope that it is good information. Let's hope it's a good announcement, because I really want to see Black Clover come back. I want to see it be successful. I want to see communication and conversation around the series again. It's sad to see how far it's fallen. I would like to see more people just talk about it again. But okay, I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.